I'm kidding. I'm not going to do that. I see that all the time, and honestly, it irks me. So I'm just going to be direct, a little raw here. I'm going to talk about something that's been kind of weighing me down a little bit. I know this is supposed to be like a sarcastic, different type of experience that you would normally see within the gaming community, but people are different. Everybody's dynamic. Life comes at you in different waves. So I'm going to try to not be sarcastic, and that's kind of difficult for me because that's who I am. One of the things I do struggle with is bouts of anger. And a lot of that comes from having to bottle things up. And that's really never good. If you're in a similar situation, I would highly advise that you find some kind of constructive way of doing that. Don't go to drugs or alcohol. I didn't. I hope you don't. Don't do it. It's just not good. So one of my outlets for that, and just like de-stressing and making sense of everything that's going on, has been art or video games. They've both been incredibly therapeutic, and I don't know what I'd do without both of them. It's excellent. So I might get a little misty-eyed, so I hope you can excuse that. I'm trying hard not to. So family life's been pretty difficult for me and my family. Oh man, how do I... Shit. A lot of that stems from my mother's history with brain cancer. And it's hit me especially hard. Because when the whole thing started, I was just old enough to really remember it. I was about 2.5, 3 years old. My mother was in the military. She was in a branch of intelligence. She was a Russian linguist. Her job was to intercept signals coming out of Russia and translate them to English, which is pretty cool. But her brain cancer popped up in her early 20s after having my younger sister. It's just tough knowing where she was and where she's gone since then. So her cancer popped up. If you want to know the exact type, it was a malignant astrocytoma. Why do I know that? Because I'm an inquisitive person. I like to know what's going on. I like to try and fix things, even though I may not be qualified to do it, but that's just my nature. So around that time, her and my father split, and we were living in California at the time. And we flew back to the East Coast to move in with my aunt while my mother finished the final bout of her chemotherapy. This was in the late 80s or mid 80s, whichever. It was pretty traumatic, the whole thing. I remember it, even still, being on an airplane, seeing the blue rug with the little red diamonds in it, being fed grapes so my ears would pop. My mom was pretty sick and out of it and didn't really know what was going on. I think one of the things that really kind of hit me was just the seizures that would happen as a result of, losing a portion of the left frontal lobe of your brain. So, as years went on, we kind of started becoming accustomed to it, but at the same time, whenever it would happen, there was just this feeling of not being in control. Like the person that was supposed to show you the way and do stuff is just not able to do that during those moments. And it kind of rocks your foundation at a young age. So experiencing that, it just gave me a wave of emotions, and it was overwhelming, and I had to bear it. And it's not healthy. So I can tell you from personal experience, if anyone tells you to quote unquote control your emotions and just be happy, that's not healthy. You need to have an outlet in which to displace that in a healthy and constructive way. Not self-medication or lashing out at other people, etc. That's just not the way. Don't do it. Anybody telling you that's the way, they're probably having trouble with that themselves. That, or they just can't deal with hardships, and they should probably be checked on too. So over the years, between that, mom was functional enough to do stuff like drive and, attend my younger sister's wedding, which is absolutely amazing. But later on, we noticed an increase in seizure patterns, which was strange because the medication she was on was supposed to reduce that. I mean, she'd have a seizure occasionally because she'd, forget to take medicine because it's difficult to keep a sense of time and place when, you're missing a portion of your left frontal lobe. It's just not easy. So we noticed an increase, and she had an accident one day where she fell down the stairs and cracked her head open outside, and everybody freaked out, understandably so. And she went and got checked out and found out that her cancer came back. So, I mean, it was pretty much all hands on deck. Fast forward a bit, she ended up going in for surgery again to get the remainder of the cancer removed. And at first, the operation seemed excellent. And as time progressed, she ended up getting worse. We don't really know why, but she lost her ability to speak for the most part. Isn't very mobile, but thankfully she's still in there. Yeah, it's rough. It's not just for me, for everybody. Extended family, friends, people who knew her. I mean, she's still here, she's still alive, but it's tough knowing someone how they were before versus where they've gone. And yeah, it's just not good. And I've deteriorated a little bit because of all of this. And I think it's because I care too much. I can be too empathetic. And I mean, I guess you could argue that that's a good trait to have, but it can be detrimental in certain situations, particularly if you want to be doing something that requires a lot of concentration, skill, determination, will, and drive. It's not easy to do when you've always got other people in the back of your mind wanting to do right on them and for them. At the same time, you kind of, you almost feel selfish for wanting to do better for yourself. I know that it's not really a realistic thing, that it's not really selfish to get yourself into a better place and overall just to be stronger for the people you care about, or maybe the people that you will care about later on, maybe friendships or a romantic relationship. It's just hard to weigh it out and know what's right, because you don't want to screw up. You don't want to disappoint people. Yet at the same time, if you don't move forward and you don't do things that might initiate that, you can't really disappoint people if they're already disappointed. So I know it's such a defeatist mentality, but that's where I've been. That's not where I'm currently at. I'm working away from that. I'm not saying that I'm like 100% great, but no. Working toward it. It's just kind of nice to talk to the camera like this in such an impromptu way. I understand why some of the other larger creators and myself do this, even some of the little guys. I get it. So I'll be back with more of my sarcastic shenanigans in the future. Until then, hope you have a safe weekend and a happy new year to you. Thanks.